That $2.5 billion in sales comes from two places. One, infomercials, which means I'm selling people at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're watching TV, you and your wife are sitting in bed. What makes you pop out of bed going, I gotta get my credit card. That girl is on, I want that.
Right.
Well, I thought I was just a genius at this. I didn't think I could teach it. At that point in time, I lost both my parents. They both died from cancer. Months after that, 9/11 happened. And I'm from New York, and my entire world just fell apart. And I said, I want to make a baby. I ended up making two, a little beautiful boy and girl. 6 months after that, I raised a little boy from South Central. 12 years of his life, he was best man at my wedding. He was walking from a haircut to church on a Sunday morning, minding his own business. Kid who doesn't have a mentor, wants to get into a gang, walks up behind my Dexter, shoots him 10 times in the back, and leaves my boy for dead to die alone on the street. I've got 6-month-old twins. I've got a husband who's not going to function for the next 2 years. And what do we do, and how do we make our lives work? The crazy part about this is I didn't know that I was, I start to cry, that I was making my best friends. My daughter, who at 8 would come to HSN with me, she'd sit in the back. At 17, she's sitting in the house, her and her twin brother doing COVID school right at home.
Right.
She comes downstairs, and I've made a living my entire life. She said, Mom, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. She said, why don't we teach pitching? I'm like, no. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm never teaching this to anybody.
Right.
I print money. I literally print money. So she says, no, you know what, Mom? You made a lot of money in your life. We've had a great life, but you have no legacy with other people.
Yes. Who is Forbes Riley? $2.5 billion in sales. That's amazing.
Thank you. Started out as an ugly little girl, which is a really interesting. I have a lot of philosophies that I live by. One of them is that life happens for you, not to you. And you're the sum of the obstacles you overcome.
Couldn't agree more.
So at about age 8, we realized I had a really weird mouth. You have 5 kids? Yeah. So my jaw was really weird. My teeth went in different directions. So at 8 years old, and by the way, the only thing your little girls want, I don't care what you tell them, they want to be pretty. That's what little girls inherently want. I don't know why that is. And if you put a girl in braces for 8 years and put a tongue thruster in my mouth, for 3 years I had to talk like this, I couldn't communicate with anybody. And as I'm now teaching communication and have thousands of students, I realized that all came about because I watched people waste their words. I watched people babble and not say anything. I'm like, I can't say anything. How do I get you to do what I want? And I realized less words, more impact. And I realized how to become expressive to literally get what you want. And I call that the pitch. You pitch people all day. You can pitch for money, you can pitch for investors, you can pitch to sell your company, but your wife can also pitch to go, honey, could you massage my neck? If you say yes, that's a pitch. I live by a rule, you get 3 yeses, you got a credit card. So is that a pad? Can I write on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you say you're the queen of pitch, because I would call myself the king of sales. So yes. I'm excited to hang out.
Well, so here's the thing. I didn't like sales. Sales intimidated me. And I don't know your background that allows you to sell, but I didn't grow up with any money. So being sold or selling always seemed weird. But getting a yes, anytime, anywhere. So I've got pretty much a blank slate here, right? All right, I'm going to make a little prediction about you. We just met, although I do like you very much.
All right.
Would you like to see something cool?
Sure.
So you just got my first yes.
Oh,
I just predicted you'd say yes.
I said sure.
You did say sure, but it implied, well, here's the thing. It implies a yes.
Yes.
And you know in sales, and you're an expert at this, but everyone else is not. Or if they were, they'd make more money, have more leads, and have a better life.
Yeah.
Most people are destined and designed to get a no. You know how many times you get no by the time you're in first grade?
Lots.
Thousands. Can I leave the table? No. Can I drive the car? No. Can I? No.
Right.
In school, can I go to the bathroom? No.
Absolutely.
You are literally taught a set of rules that all end up in the word no. Very rarely do you get a yes. So those of us who are sitting in the back of the room going, wait a second, this isn't working for me. First of all, I changed the way no is. Forget no doesn't mean stop, and you know that in sales. But no for me means never-ending opportunity. Yes, the wrong person, the wrong question.
Right.
And it takes a little bit of courage to do that. I think it takes a lot of practice. And I'm now teaching an entire formula. That $2.5 billion in sales comes from two places. One, infomercials, which means I'm selling people at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're watching TV, you and your wife are sitting in bed. What makes you pop out of bed going, I got to get my credit card. That girl is on, I want that.
Right.
Well, I thought I was just a genius at this. I didn't think I could teach it. Then I went on to home shopping. Have you ever watched QVC?
I have.
Did you buy anything? Okay. Well, because we're not really tailored to your avatar.
Yeah, I mean, it was jewelry and stuff like that. It was more just to study the pitches.
Well, you can also get a cleaner. You can get a house sprayer. You can get security lights. You can get all kind of electronics. You can get anything you want on home shopping.
I mean, it's been years. I was probably broke and a teenager.
Well, but it is a great way to learn sales because you, as the guest and the host, are responsible for selling $2,000 to $5,000 a minute, every minute that we're on this camera. Now, you and I have a lot of time to chit chat and say hi to everybody and be nice. No, you're out there. You
Right.
have to look like you're chit-chatting and being nice, but what you're doing is you're closing.
You're closing,
You
yep.
are closing all the time, and I can see the numbers. And when the numbers get low, you have this different energy. And so I created this system. And the funny thing was, one day my agent calls me in LA and says, "Hey, I had a contract. I used to get paid $100,000 to sit and do an infomercial. Now, you know why someone would pay me $100,000? Because they'd make $10 million.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a good investment at that, right?
Yeah, why didn't you charge more?
Why didn't I charge more? You know, because they didn't want to pay girls more back then. They paid all the guys that I work with a lot more. And I was the co-host on a lot of shows that I wrote, but it was the Billy Mays, Tony
Right.
Little. It was fascinating where girls got relegated. And I had this argument with Billy Mays one day. Billy's like, "You have to do more 2 minutes." I said, "Billy, in the 2-minute spots that you do that interrupt soap operas that you do so well on, you are yelling at the audience. Hey,
Billy Mays here. High on cocaine. Keep going.
well, I said, Billy, if I yell at somebody through a television, you know what I look like? I look like your mom, your cranky sister, your wife, your girlfriend. It's annoying for a woman to do that.
Right.
So I love the half-hour format. But half hours were on more at nighttime. We still made hundreds of millions of dollars per show.
So you gotta answer a few questions. So you were around Billy Mays, all these guys. Clearly, a lot of drugs going on. So
No, can I say? No, I'm sorry.
from Billy, Billy wasn't doing
He could
drugs.
have done whatever he wanted, not in my presence ever. Billy was,
And that was where the question circled. Like, I mean, I know for a fact because he ended up dying OD, right?
no. And this
Is that not
really,
right?
No, he's a really good friend. I'm going to clarify that.
All right.
Really
Well,
important.
appreciate the clarification.
First of all, Billy had health issues. Billy and I were doing a TV series called Pitchmen for Discovery. He was doing it with Anthony Sullivan, living the most amazing life. He's a great father. He had a new baby.
Good.
And he had a lot of hip issues. He was on a lot of drugs, like Oxycontin drugs. Anything he did beyond that, I don't know. But all I know is he couldn't walk. And he was always in pain. And for him to be that outgoing, and I spent a lot of time with him, when you see somebody in pain, so I'm going to say that was definitely part of it. He came home, when he hit Tampa Airport, everything fell out of the overhead. They had kind of a mini crash landing. The next day he was gone. Whether something hit him, whether it was a concussion.
Something.
You can talk about whatever you want, but I will vouch for that man.
Well, I
forever.
appreciate you setting the record straight because for me, an opinion or a belief is only temporary until changed.
Right.
So I appreciate that. I definitely don't hold any
No, and here's the
overwhelming
thing. I'm
opinion
sure
about
that
him.
people who have a lot of money may do whatever. It was never my scene.
Right.
I'm in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. I'm a health fanatic. My husband's into health and fitness. It's real important to me, but I do know that he suffered a lot. I've actually lost a friend to suicide to pain. So, and I'm sorry that they did have some sense of that, but
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the media, they're full of all kinds of crap, and that's why I love podcasting is we can set the record straight.
Happy to do that.
Put the
Plus, he also changed my life. But it's an interesting story too, because as entrepreneurs, so I took this new invention that I had. I'd always sold other people's products.
Yeah.
I am the best spokeswoman ever.
I love it.
Body by Jake found me in the early 1990s. Get this. By the way, I don't know if you know my career, but I'm an actress and a television host. As an actress, movies and television. I have a new movie coming out, premiering right here in the Paris Hotel, October 5th. It's an action-packed Western, kind of the Expendables for martial artists. I spent 30 years being a martial artist. And it's a self-invested project.
Wow.
So we all did this with Don the Dragon and Benny the Jet and some of the great martial artists. I'm the bad girl. I still get to do that. As a host, I started the X Games with Stuart Scott. I had my own national radio show and 250 syndicated stations interviewing classic rock stars.
Wow.
I would sit across the table from Foreigner, Sting, Journey, Clapton, George Thorogood going, this is a cool life. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I went on to host The Laugh Factory, and I'm not even that funny. But I had a knack for being in all of these places, and I've had the most phenomenal life that probably should be in a book. Haven't done that yet.
You haven't written a book?
Not a book about me.
Yeah, I saw a book. You had like something about Forbes or something.
Yes. What have you Forbes lately? It's a compilation book. Here, we talk about Forbes as manifesting.
Yeah.
What have you manifested?
What have I manifested?
Yeah, give me one.
A lot of things. A jet. I manifested a jet and got a jet.
So my daughter wants too.
Yeah.
Did you make a certain amount of money before you bought the jet? Is that kind of how that worked for you?
I wasn't making enough money to own a jet at the point, but in 9 months I got a jet we were making enough money to buy a jet.
All right, so you got to talk to my daughter. My daughter's 21.
Yeah.
We flew in a private jet from San Diego. She's like, Mom, so here's a great story. How old are your kids?
17, 15, 12, 10, and 5.
I love that. So I wanted to have a baby. At that point in time, I lost both my parents. They both died from cancer. Months after that, 9/11 happened. And I'm from New York, and my entire world just fell apart. Best friends with 9 guys who had a firehouse a quarter mile north of the World Trade Center. Second building comes down, they're all gone, except for my brother-in-law.
Wow.
So now 5 years of absolute hell is what I don't know what happened in life. 2000, it just happened. The world is just shifting. And I said, I want to make a baby. I ended up making 2, little beautiful boy and girl. 6 months after that, I raised a little boy from South Central, black kid, a little darker than your microphone. 12 years of his life. He was best man at my wedding. He was walking from a haircut to church on a Sunday morning, minding his own business. Kid who doesn't have a mentor, wants to get into a gang, walks up behind my Dexter, shoots him 10 times in the back, and leaves my boy for dead to die alone on the street. I've got 6-month-old twins. I've got a husband who's not going to function for the next 2 years. And what do we do, and how do we make our lives work? And so as cool as the path had been up until that point, I hit a massive wall. And as a woman, I said to myself, look, I'm not going to stop. I am basically single now. I'm going to survive. My family's going to be great. I'm going to have the most amazing kids and move this legacy forward. And that was 21 years ago.
Wow.
It's been an interesting second half journey. The crazy part about this is I didn't know that I was, I start to cry, that I was making my best friends. My daughter, who at 8 would come to HSN with me, she'd sit in the back. At one point, this little 8-year-old, oh gosh, I'm on set doing something. It's like, Mommy, I'm like, what? She's like, I have notes for you. I'm like, you have what? She's like, yeah, your models weren't smiling. You need to stop, blah, blah, blah. And that host,
How old is she at the time?
She's 6.
Wow.
So by the time she's 8, she's traveling with me around the world to do events and come to things. In fact, I used to pull her out of school all the time because our motto was, don't let school get in the way of a good education. And so she's traveled around the world.
It's a great motto.
Get this. At some point, she's about 8.5 years old. We are doing a Today's Special. Today's Special on home shopping means you're going to sell $1 million worth of your product if you do it right. But so it means everything has to be in place. I've got a spin gym, I have a bag, a book, a DVD, and a little strength cord. But they want to buy the product for a little more than I make it for, so there's no profit to me. And we're all sitting around, a group of all of my business people going, well, what do we do? Do we sell this, sell $1 million and make nothing, but get it out there? It's like, She walks in, stands by me and said, Mom, why don't you take out the bag? I said, well, the bag's got my name on it. The bag's also 55 cents of the product. You know, 55 cents times 75,000 is? That little girl saved us 50 grand and we launched. And we did it. And that's all the profit we needed to make to keep the company going.
Man.
Right. At 17, she's sitting in the house, her and her twin brother doing COVID school right at home.
Right.
She comes downstairs, and I've made a living my entire life. I mean, I'm on networks around the world. I've got products. I've got... And she said, Mom, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. So why don't we teach pitching? I'm like, no. Now, mind you, I don't think I realized from the age of 12, and you got to watch your kids when you're not watching them.
Right.
From 12 to 15, she had made about $10,000 a month. I didn't know that.
What?
She'd had to deal with her dad. I knew she was building websites for some of my famous friends. She built Joe Theismann's website and his YouTube channel. She did this for Les Brown. She was in contact to at events. She's making business deals with
That's
all my
crazy.
famous friends.
Wow.
And she's like, Mom, look how much money I've made. I'm like, where did you get that? She's like, oh, well, I've just been putting it away every time somebody would write me a check or something. I'm like,
It's amazing.
I didn't know. I thought they were like giving her $100. I didn't know it was like $10,000. So here's the funny thing. I'm making $100 grand a day doing hosting. I give my contract to my agent one day, and he says, hey, I've got good news and bad news for you. And I'm 42 at the time. He says, the good news is they love you. That's cool. The bad news, they want somebody younger and less expensive. I was 42. At 42 in Hollywood, you're done as a woman.
That's crazy.
Right.
I feel young. I'm 40. Like,
Right.
what the heck? Being called old at that age? Come on.
You know, as soon as you walk in and some young kid goes, sir, can I help you? You're going to feel it.
Yeah, you
They
know,
go,
I feel it
"Ma'am?"
every once in a while.
And so my agent then said, and I found her, but they want you to teach her to pitch. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm never teaching this to anybody.
Right.
I print money. I literally print money. And so 2 decades later, when my daughter says, let's start a pitching company, I said, I'm good.
You have a flashback to this moment. And you're like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
So she says, no, you know what, Mom? You made a lot of money in your life. We've had a great life, but you have no legacy with other people. At that moment, we sat down. I'd never written an online course. This is 4 years ago. We write the course. We do a webinar on a Wednesday night. I've got 25 people in the class. I'm going to sell my training for $1,000, right? I wake up the next morning.
Cheap.
$1,000? I wake up the next...
Come on, Forbes.
Hang on. They walked in for $19. I was pretty proud of myself. I'd never done this before. Why weren't you my coach back then? All right. So I I wake up the next morning and I said to my daughter, what does the K stand for? She's like, Mom, what do you mean? I said, it says our account is 25K more than it had yesterday. She said, you enrolled everybody. You closed up. Imagine this. You closed 100% of the room.
Right.
And that's how we launched our business. Yeah. 4 weeks later, we had 100K in that same account. 6 months later, we got a 2 Comma Club award for $1 million funnel.
Which is fantastic, except for it should have been 10 times that.
Well, but no, you say that, but I didn't have people who were ready to pay that.
Right. Well, you didn't think they were. 10 grand. 10 grand to pitch anything? Come on.
Well, we can have this conversation. And it's an interesting time, and maybe there's a real reason that I met you and you guys are witnessing something. So when you come from no money, did you have money when you grew up?
No.
But some mindset shifted for you.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up school teacher, stay-at-home mom, 7 kids. We had nothing.
Right.
But I started working at the age of 9, right? And there was a shift in my mentality after a failed bankruptcy that I've got to charge a ton of money to always make sure that I'm profitable.
See, and my philosophy is a little different.
Yeah.
Is that I've got to charge a ton of people a little bit of money to be profitable. And I have an army.
Why not an army of people, a ton of money?
You can have both. Well, I'll tell you why. Because I would have missed out on some people that reminded me of me and my family. And so I'm shifting that. But if you don't ever touch the people who can't really afford that or are going to struggle to do that, I've got a lot of women in 16, 17 years old who trust me, believe me, and love me. I would rather have them be making 100 grand than take that from them.
You want to know what my philosophy is?
Go.
If they don't pay enough, they won't take it seriously. You only value what you pay for.
Well, while I agree with that, it's interesting. We have an interesting philosophy, only I direct it differently because I talk about 2 watches. Right. I talk about a Swatch and a Rolex. You got a watch, it's $14, one is $14,000, right? Which one do you put in the vault? Not this one.
Right.
And it's just a watch. It just tells time. It's not even an Apple Watch.
Yep.
But you value that one more. I'm going to tell you that I think the people that I attracted when I started, and it's a good philosophy for my daughter to have because I've met a lot of people, especially people now who want to charge me, oh, Forbes, it's just 100 grand. It's just 250,000. It's not just that. I'm sorry. In my mind, to a lot of people, that is a lot of money.
Right.
And I love ROIs. I love to get people profitable fast.
Yep.
And I have helped now 28,000 people who think I walk on water.
Yep.
Now, can the next group of people do that? At 10 grand, 100 grand? Absolutely.
Yep.
I know that it's not about me being worth it.
Right.
I think it was the people that I attracted.
Right.
And I think starting out entrepreneurs, I guess my daughter looked at me. I'd been screwed over. I'd paid a lot of money to a lot of people and got nothing. And so my philosophy started to be, how do we find people who are being screwed over, who don't think life is fair, and can I be the champion for them?
Yep.
And that's what I did for 4 years.
And I appreciate that because I have a similar mission and drive that I want to share my message with the world, right? But at the same time, I understand that most people that get my stuff for free or very little are not going to do anything with it.
See, here's the difference. All the stuff, now this is the little caveat. I don't sell anything. I teach and you finish my courses.
Right.
So I have invested 4 years of my life. This was the legacy thing.
Right.
I don't want you to buy a $100 course or a $1,000 course.
Right.
You bought a $1,000 experience or a $5,000 experience with me and you finished it. My graduation rate, my rate of completion, and we cared too much for 4 years. We cared a lot. I wrote the most amazing courses. I've got people going, we've never seen anything like this.
It's great.
I needed to do that. I got paid to build my business.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to take your coaching and go to the next level.
I love it. But yes, there's definitely different philosophies and things that work for everyone. And I mean, it's the same reason why I have free information out like this podcast, right? Like nobody pays for this podcast.
They don't pay for this then how can it be valuable?
Exactly. So it gets the general interest, right?
Yeah.
But people always want more. And yeah. But anyways,
I've got a 21-year-old daughter right now.
Yeah.
Who's sitting on a multi-million-dollar business. She runs 16 people.
Yeah.
And she's brilliant. And her whole goal was to make mommy's dreams come true.
That's awesome.
Because mommy had been screwed over a lot between having Dexter being murdered. When I was a kid, my mom was held up in the house at gunpoint. They stole all of our jewelry, and I had a weird, and she's like, I'm gonna take great care of you. I'm gonna make I can't believe that I found someone in my life aside from my husband.
I want to meet this girl. I'm excited. Is she here with you?
She is here with me.
Oh my goodness, we got to do dinner.
Oh, I'd love to. You've never met anyone like her.
Yeah, I'm excited.
She gets on stage and she has a lot of you in her.
That's great.
It's because
I'll take that as a compliment.
I have to be careful how I say that. Oh yes, it is a compliment.
Yeah, good.
She's driven and she's hungry and she's fun. So, but we get back to this private jet thing. I've never talked to anybody who's private jet about. Well, I have, but We were literally flying, and McKenna says, look, as soon as we make this, and listen, this 21-year-old, Mom, it's a great investment, blah, blah, blah. Here's how we can monetize it. Here's how we can maximize it. And so what got in your brain that said, I want to own a jet? And
so it was interesting. Actually, the first thing that inspired me was, so there was a buddy of mine. We had kind of like been similar points of our careers, and we had both had pretty good success up until that point. And one day he posts on Instagram his new jet that he got. I'm like, dude, I need a jet.
Such a bro thing. I need a jet.
But I'd always like fantasize about the idea of it. But for me, it was like, this would make financial sense, right? 100% depreciation. We live in a small area, and it's really hard to fly direct to all of our locations, right? And so, anytime I fly to, like, for example, if I fly from where I'm at down to Portland, there's no direct flight. I literally have to go through Seattle down to Portland. Like, that makes no sense. 7 hours to get to Portland, which should take 45 minutes.
Right.
And so I started calculating all these different things, and I'm just like, I need something to really push and drive for right now. And so actually broke out. It was a notepad similar to this, and then I later transferred it over to this. And every single day I operated under this top 10 rule. And it was actually the rule that my buddy had shared with on his post. And I'm like, I'm going to start implementing that, and I'm going to get a jet.
Top 10 rule.
And so the top 10 rule is, or the daily top 10 is this. Every single day, you break out a sheet of paper and you say, okay, what are the 10 things that would get me absolutely amped if I accomplish before I die, right? Like just 10 things that are like big, hairy, audacious goals, right? That are out there, that are, maybe you can't necessarily really understand how you're going to get there, but you put it down. And so I started doing that every single day. And so with that, I implemented also what I call the inputs and outputs. So I would do top 10 things, and on there was buy an 8-person jet, right? Like that's what I wanted more than anything, because I thought with 8 people, I could fly around people, that are with me or whatnot. And so it was there. And then my inputs and outputs. The outputs are, okay, outputs are outcomes that I want from today. 2 or 3 things that if I accomplish these things today, it's going to get me one step closer to my top 10, and I'm going to feel like it's a fulfilled day, right? And then I would do what's called the inputs, where what are the things that I have to do in order to accomplish those 2 to 3 things.
So what were the couple of things on that list?
So, some would be like a project, right? Like launch new marketing campaign.
Okay.
Right. And so that would be like an output or an outcome from the day. And an input would be spend 2 hours writing new copy, or spend 1 hour publishing the whatever. Right. So It would be like the actual work that I had to do to get the outcome that I needed.
And you wrote that every morning?
Every morning. And I did that for 9 months. It was 11 months. So I saw the post in January. December 7th, I picked up my jet, paid $6.7 million cash for that thing. And the previous year, we had only made $2.3 million.
Wow. What was the big shift in income? What was the big shift
So we went from 2.3 to 19 and a half that year.
Doing?
Same.
But help me what that is. Is that courses? Is that books? Is that training?
No. So I ran a solar business.
Okay.
And so I built a business out of my garage in 2017, 4.5 years later, 1,100 person team, right? And so the big shift was between 2020 and 2021, where literally that practice I just shared with you completely shifted. And part of that practice was sell my company sell off part of my company to private equity for 9 figures.
Right.
And so I had these goals and everything that I was chasing. So that was 2021, got the jet at the end of 2021. May, we closed on our deal that valued our business at $180 million.
Damn, nice. Nice. I love this. So 4 weeks ago, I'm with my son, spring break, and my daughter and my husband, and we're having a time of our lives in Iceland. Highly recommend Iceland, not a long...
That sounds awesome.
It is the Disneyland for adults. You literally land and you go to this giant lagoon.
I've never heard this about Iceland, so keep going.
Oh my God. You get in a car, you go from glacier waterfalls to these geysers. Then we went snowmobiling on top of a glacier. Then we went down into a cave, an ice cave that I'll show you some pictures. Oh my God.
Sounds awesome.
I'm literally driving this snowmobile thinking with the sunset and there's nobody anywhere. You're like, James Bond. Yeah, it was so cool.
That's so cool.
So we're coming back, and we're in one of these big buses that has big air tires that can ride on glacier. There's 3 buses. Our bus has been a little squirrely going up there, and on the way back, I'm sitting with my face against the window. My daughter's behind me, Joshua, and my son. Everyone's strapped in. And the guy's like, just be careful. We have a little ice. Next thing I know, we are flying through the air, and we come crashing down on my side of the bus.
What?
This is 4 weeks ago. I open my eyes. There's glass everywhere. My face is on the asphalt. My daughter's behind me. Everyone on the bus is kind of.
You got thrown from it?
Not thrown from it. Thrown in, literally in the bus
on the side.
Boom,
Yeah, so
down.
glass. You're wow.
I
That's
literally
crazy.
opened my face.
No cuts?
This is what's crazy. My hand was cut, but my face wasn't.
What?
Neither was my
The
daughter.
money maker.
I
That's
know.
incredible.
Oh, you want to talk about having the hand of God or whoever's passed before me be an angel? You then read about people who die in bus accidents in Iceland all the time. People are above me or strapped in and they're being strangled by their seatbelts. We all get cut out of this. We walk away from it. I tore my shoulder in 2 places. A lot of minor injuries. My husband's this bodybuilder. And he'd said to me, there's this bodybuilding competition in where we live for women in your age group. You want to do it? And just like you said, a list of something that would be so amazing. What do I want to do before I die? And so 3 weeks ago, I said, yes, I'm going to appear in a bodybuilding competition and hooker high heel shoes. And I'm going to walk across the stage in my first bodybuilding contest.
When is this going to be?
June 29th.
Oh my
I got
goodness.
9.5 weeks
you're
left.
Busting your can to get this done.
I am protein girl. I'm in the air. I'm every morning at 5 a.m. It's just funny that you talked about how you wrote that list down because the input output is what I'm doing with food, nutrition, mentality. Birthday cake showed up yesterday. My birthday's on Thursday. I looked at the birthday cake and it was funny. It was amazing. It was like, blow out the candle, go, pretend to taste a little bite. Not interesting. I have a goal. And I will tell you as I look at my husband, who I don't know why you would compete. I do now. Do you go to the gym?
I do.
Okay.
I went there this morning.
There you go. I used to go there a lot. Do you know what I discovered about myself?
What's that?
I think I'm a liar. I think I've been lying to myself. I think I went to the gym to go do Instagram, to sit in the sauna and do Instagram. Get a lot of Instagram done. I'd lift a weight, I'd Instagram. I'd lift another weight, I'd Instagram. And I go, I was in the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
Dude, I will tell you, in the last 3 weeks, I show up to the gym and I do all the sets. And Josh was not about doing 3 sets. He does 8 to 10 sets.
Right.
And I'm doing them and I'm focused. And I've achieved so much in my life. I just think it took a bus to fall on me to solidify what the next part of my life is.
I love it.
About not lying to yourself. And literally, I don't want any of my students anymore because I've got lots of clients who say, I want this. And then they don't do it. How dare you tell me you want to lose 10 pounds and have a donut? You're not lying to me.
Right.
You're lying to you.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of, so when you sat down and did that commitment, did you do that every day religiously?
Every day. I probably missed 5 days that year.
Right.
Yeah.
And this whole act of writing things down, you know what NLP is? Mm-hmm. So NLP and hypnosis and I have been friends forever. I am a Broadway actress. I had an opportunity to, Lily Tomlin, big actress, let me do her one-woman show. I'm that talented that I got booked on it. We're excited. It's 250 pages. There's no teleprompter, no ear prompter. And at some point, a week into rehearsals, I looked at the director. I said, can I talk to you? You have to fire me. He said, what do you mean? You're great. Please fire me. He said, what's going on? I said, I can't memorize this. I can't even get a page into my head. There's no way in a month or however long I'm going to stand on stage and do this entire thing playing 15 characters with no teleprompter. And he said, do me a favor before you quit. You can't quit. Go see this person. And it was a hypnotist.
Wow.
And I sat on the couch, and I think it was the very first time, and this is now 30 years ago. And I'm like, he said, what do you want to do? I said, I have this play here with all these pages. I can't memorize it. He said, okay, go home. I said, wait a second. I don't want to go home. He said, but you just said you can't do it, so go home. I said, but I can't. He said, then go home. I said, stop this. What are you doing? He said, stop saying can't. I said, oh, come on. It's not that simple. So I stood up and I said, okay, fine. I can do it. He said, go home. Because that can sounded a lot like can't, right? And then he looked at me and he said, look, has anyone ever memorized a play? Have you ever done a play? Does Beyonce do a 3-hour concert and not look at her notes? I'm like, yeah, I guess it's possible. And as soon as I said it was possible, it was like a winter coat fell off of my body. And I thought, well, darn, okay, it is possible.
Right.
I can do it. And then I asked him this great question, but how? And he said to me, there's 3 things you need to do. 1, every morning say that you can do it, visualize and imagine that you're there. Number 2, take in longhand in script, literally, which nobody does anymore. You're going to write every line of the script once, you're going to write it again, and then you're going to hook it and write it in the air. And you're going to do this. It took me 72 consecutive hours to write the entire book in handwriting. And then you're going to say it all, listen to it every morning, and listen to it every night. 6.5 weeks later, I did the show for 8 months, never missed a word.
Love it. It's phenomenal.
Switch.
You know, consistency is such an incredible thing, right? Like, and it's, so one, making the switch that I can, it's possible, being around people that help you believe that, right? I think that's one of the biggest reasons anyone should ever pay for a coach or a mentor or to be in a room, a masterclass, a mastermind, whatever it is to be around people that truly believe that pretty much anything's possible. Right. Like that's
proved it.
Right. They proved it or they believe it and they're chasing it, whatever it is. Right. Like,
are your parents alive?
They are. Yeah.
Did they see you buy a jet?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. But what's the reaction of mom and dad, who I'm sure in their line, I never imagined they would imagine.
For sure. But you know, the cool thing about my dad, like, even though he wasn't really successful financially, he was always my biggest cheerleader. Always. And like coached me on. And my mom always just like instilled in me, like, dream as big as you can.
Oh.
And so.
Do you have siblings?
I do. There's 7 of us. So.
Mormon?
Yeah. What's that?
You Mormon?
I am.
I can feel that. That's the best door-to-door salespeople.
And I was door-to-door salesperson for a long time.
I'm in business with a lot of Mormons. I'm heading to Utah after this.
Yeah.
I've been really blessed in the last 2 years to meet some phenomenal sales. I didn't realize you guys are seriously cooking up salespeople.
Yeah, we know how to whip them out.
Well, because it's an interesting attitude. I talked in the beginning about you knocking on doors and getting no's. How many no's did you get in a day?
Right.
But you dealt with them differently.
Right.
You got very emotional there. What's going on?
Oh, I just love my parents.
Yeah.
They're great.
Are your other sisters and brothers as successful?
They're all successful in their own ways. Yeah, they've all been financially blessed in many.
I was just wondering if it was something that set you apart, or was the environment?
You know, definitely our environment shaped us. I had some things that set me apart for sure, like, you know, being diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. I think that was like one of the biggest factors that really just like, you know, honed in discipline and all kinds of different things that really made me pay attention to that my life is valuable. And if I don't take care of it, I could be gone very quick, right? Like I knew other diabetics that died at age 20 and that type of thing. So, but definitely like my other siblings have done very well.
No, but it goes back to this moment because all the people who are listening to us right now, everyone's got those limiting beliefs about themselves.
Yes.
And I go back to my story of whatever happened to me when I was younger. And if you choose to let all that be your foundation as opposed to your excuse, your life is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I value people. I love learning from people who've lost it all. How did you do that? You had it, you lost it, and then you regained it.
Right.
I want to know that lesson. And I don't want to know what you did. I want to know how you felt doing it. It's like, wait a second. Somewhere in you, again, this little switch that's like, oh, you made a decision to be successful, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it changed everything.
Yeah. There were several moments in my life in which that happened. But yeah, losing it all for sure. Filing bankruptcy for $2.2 million at the age of 27. You know, that was why.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, a lot of reasons: poor decisions, bad pricing, bad partnerships.
Okay.
All kinds of different things.
Do you teach those
ego,
lessons?
Absolutely. So, you know, ego is one of the big things that led to my demise, and yeah.
I would call it demise, hiccup.
My short-term demise. It was definitely short, you know, and it was definitely a demise at the time.
And then what was the decision, or what was the process to come back? Because this really is what I love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, the decision was like, do I hang it up, stop chasing my dreams, go get a normal job, go down the medical path that I was planning on doing from age 6, like being a doctor, you know, and just go back and do what everybody else was telling me? Or do I take the lessons that I had learned up until that point, go and apply it, you know, figure out and study the principles of success and go and apply it? Yeah, and that's what I chose. And so, but, you know, there's a lot, and we can talk later about it, but my audience has heard these stories way too many times. So,
that's right. Well, how important is faith to you?
Absolutely, 100%. Like
the same
top. Way? Yeah, God number one for me, for sure. So, 2 things. One, thank you for sharing the wreck, the accident that you had. I actually recently had a very similar experience a year ago. So, head on with a drunk driver coming at me 130 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And with 2 of my sons in the car, and we should have been dead for sure. We should have absolutely been dead. And had we not been driving a Tesla, we would have. My son wasn't wearing a seatbelt in the back, and the back end of my car was completely demolished, and only the weight of the battery kept us from rolling. And had we rolled, he would have been dead.
Wow.
So yeah, but like those type of wake up moments that really like put life into perspective. Okay, what is my purpose? What is my direction? Why does God still have me here? Right?
Yep.
Because I had a guy that managed our fleet of 250 vehicles that worked for me that had previously worked for the state patrol, and said he had been on seeing 2,000 of these different types of wrecks. He said mine was the worst without fatality.
Oh wow.
And and so like
that's kind of what
things like that. You're like, wow, yeah, God wants me here. I have a purpose. It's bigger than just building and growing and selling a company. And so it was shortly thereafter that I launched my podcast.
Really?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
They're good stories. I've had one for 20 years now. I love this. It's a great time and excuse to meet people as opposed to just going out to dinner.
Yeah.
It's like memorializing a really intimate, fun conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other question, which is completely off topic, but you have an Android?
Oh, dude, you was with people. Oh my God. I was like, I'm going to keep it now because it's so freaking disruptive.
Oh, man.
You know what? 2 years ago, whenever I bought it, the camera was better. I'm crazy about cameras.
Oh.
The new iPhone, I've got, everybody in my world has an iPhone. I get to use it all the time, but thank you. You picked on them. This is not nice to pick on PS. You pick on me. I was going to give you my spin gym. Now no spin gym for you. No spin gym for you.
But here's the reality. I mean, when I send somebody a text and it goes through as an iMessage, I'm like, all right, it's a real human being. And when I send it and I get a green bubble, I'm like, are they real? Or is it a bot? Am I texting a computer?
Oh, God.
Like, is this a real human or is this really Forbes? And she shows up. Sure enough, she's got an Android. So I have to give you a hard time about that.
You technology geeks, it's totally fine. Everything else in my world is a Mac. I just like my camera, and for a while it was better, and now iPhone's just stepped up with this new titanium. I get it. I pick on something else. Come on, go for it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to pick on you anymore, but Forbes, it's been incredible hanging out with you.
Thank you.
It's been a good time, and I would say that you're close to the best guest I've ever had.
Well, I'll just be the closest female. You know what? I'll tell you what.
I just can't select one, but you're absolutely phenomenal.
Well, I wouldn't want you to, but I will tell you, I did not really watch who you were until recently, and I started watching your shows before I came on. And there is a sense, I know why you're successful.
Thank you.
Do you know why you get it?
I mean, I would love to. I always like a good compliment. Keep going.
Well, it's funny when I also hear the accident too. I think people who do get a wake up call have a little different sense of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad a bus fell on me because I don't think I would. I was going down a path. I was fine, but something just amped up. A new mission, a new sense of purpose. And maybe it's, I often say that I've never seen a burning bush. Have you?
No.
No. So I'm not sure how you communicate with the bush, but I do think that God talks to us through people.
Absolutely.
I do think that everything that you said that I need to hear, from the airplane to the way you are with your family to your parents, not only did I hear, obviously it's memorialized for everyone to hear, but that comes from a higher power.
Absolutely.
It's one reason I love to, what we haven't talked about? Oh my God, this is so bizarre. We've yacked, but we haven't talked about what I do at all.
What do you do?
Well,
you sell information.
No, I don't.
Well, it's your daughter's business. She teaches people how to pitch.
No, let's
okay,
go back.
I'm just guessing now.
I know. Come on, give me your iPhone. I'm going to sweat. The war of the phones. No, okay. I do teach people how to pitch. I'm going to start with a question. It's funny that you said, what do you do? Because the question I ask people all the time is, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's a great question. So what do? I have a mission of impacting 2 billion people across the world and changing lives through entrepreneurship.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a lesson. This is what I teach. Number one, stop telling people what they need in your business. So they don't need a solar panel. They don't need a coach.
Yep.
You want to get them to want what you have,
right,
so that they want to get electricity, care of the sun. They want to train with you.
Yep.
I would question the way you said what you said. I'm a master at listening to people's words, and not a joke. I want to impact 2 billion. My question is, why would you limit?
Right.
That's not a good way to say it. What if you start a sentence that says as? Now, and I'm not kidding. This is what I love doing.
Okay.
When you network, when you meet people, I call it 1 minute to millions. When people talk to me or they pitch me or they pitch anybody, they yak a lot. They don't always say what they want. They have no assumptions about who they're talking to, and they don't close deals. Do you find that to be true?
Sure.
And if people knew that, wouldn't life be better?
Absolutely.
So if I meet you at a party, literally I have no idea who you are, and I say, hey, nice to see you, Chris, what do you do? What do you say?
I said, I'm on a mission of impacting over 2 billion people on the earth through helping them influence their employees physically, economically, socially, their associations, and their spirituality.
And so if you're listening to that, don't let him hear you. You kind of heard like the 2 billion. I'm not sure how you do what you do. So what if you said, and I know nothing about you in that one sentence,
right?
As someone who's sold, as someone who's exited businesses, I'm on a mission. Would that change if you started the word as?
Absolutely. And you're going to help me pitch better. I'm a fantastic closer. You're going to help me pitch better.
You know, that is my specialty. I can hone this, guys. I get invited into companies. I sit with CEOs and sales teams all day, every day, who they say words, and it irks me so much. It's like nails on a chalkboard. When I hear the misuse of words, I would stop saying 2 billion. Right. I think, no, because I get that your mission is that big just from who you are.
So as someone who's built multiple 9-figure businesses.
As soon as you say that, that's massive credibility. Right there, I'm listening. I don't care what you say next. I might want to know you.
Yep.
Because as someone who's done that, now what?
Right.
Now the next question is, a sub-question, not what can you do, but what can you do for me? So if I meet you at a party, I don't really care what you do. Nobody cares what you do. They care what you can do for them.
Right.
So that's nice that you exited those businesses. Nice that you have 2 billion people you want to meet. Why do I care?
Right.
So if I were to meet you.
So as somebody that's exited multiple 9-figure businesses, I'm here to help you build a similar culture in your mission that I was able to create with mine.
You know the funny thing? While all that's true, I wouldn't say that when you first meet somebody. You have a really cool podcast, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. How do you find guests?
Reaching out to people and networking and everything else. Yeah.
I don't know that I would say all of those things about what you want to do for someone, except maybe with the podcast. Hey, as somebody who's who's exited multiple 9-figure businesses, even one is impressive. I now spend time uplifting entrepreneurs. I've got a podcast that can uplevel your personal credibility. And if that's interesting, or you know somebody who's at that level, love to meet them.
Great pitch.
And then move on.
I love it.
So that's just one of the myriad of things that I love. I love spending time honing somebody's message. And you can go back to say exactly what you wanted. But I love the idea that if you could impact other people's ears faster, your progress, because I'm sorry, don't you want a 10-figure business exit?
It's true. It's true, yeah. I'm just in the lowly 9s, unfortunately.
I feel so bad for you. It's terrible.
It's true. It's true.
You're so funny.
Man, Forbes, phenomenal. Like just that little tweak right there with the pitch. Obviously, you're the queen of pitch.
Oh, whoa. Thank you.
And one of my top guests I've ever had. So,
you know, there's a very funny thing here. I hope you guys were watching. Whether that's true or not, the fact that he thought to say it publicly, we all saw that. That was something that I jokingly said I wanted.
Yeah.
So if you pitch someone to get what you want and you give it to them, you know what we call that in my world?
What's that?
Forbesing it.
Forbesing it.
What have you Forbes lately?
Oh my goodness. Good stuff, Forbes. Where is the best place for our listeners to find you? Is it Instagram? Is it X?
Is it X? It sounds so devious.
I know. I can't help. I got to say Twitter.
I know. Elon, you screwed up there.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the thing. I'll give you guys a free gift. So if you go to free gift from Forbes, there's a template there that will just what I worked with you. It's completely free. It's got 15 prompts. It will change your business and the way you communicate. My gift to you for free. And just go to Forbes Riley everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. It's my name. With a name like that.
Absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Forbes. Until next time.